Unrest in the Arab world. The people are fighting for freedom against oppression. It is also a media revolution. The demonstrators are organizing themselves via social networks, email and Skype.
Without information from the internet, without communication via the internet, many demonstrations would not have been possible.
The power of freedom is gaining ground in North Africa and the Middle East. People are risking injury and death for freedom, for self-determination. We must do our utmost to support this freedom movement.
And yet there was also support from Germany for the opposite side. This became evident in Egypt in March. Citizens stormed the headquarters of the Egyptian State Security Department. For many years, this was Mubarak's tool of oppression.
We found files, lots of files on NGOs, files on Islamic groups, files on activists and everything like that.
With his mobile phone, he filmed everything. And Mustafa Hussein also took documents with him, securing explosive material. A secret offer from the German-British company Gamma. It concerns Finfisher spyware. The installation, training and 2 years maintenance was set to cost the Egyptian State Security Department around 300,000 euros.
It's not only software, it is exactly like weapons. It's almost as such in its danger over people and their security.
The type of digital weapon used by the regime is revealed in advertising videos for the surveillance technology that Ciber is broadcasting in cooperation with WikiLeaks.
What Finfisher sells is the ability to make every person into that device by breaking into their telephones and their computers, remotely activating the microphone and the camera, and spying on things. So instead of breaking the encryption, they just subvert it entirely.
The advertising videos show how easy it is. For example, the spyware is concealed in a smartphone update for a BlackBerry. If unknown users click on it, total access to all functions on their mobiles is possible. The same principle applies here via a false update message for iTunes. Or users fall into the trap when downloading a file. The attack comes via local networks.
I think that that's pretty concerning. So really what it comes down to is that regardless of what the rules are, the technology actually lays it out. And so these guys know they're making tools for thugs, promoting thuggery on the internet to break into everyday people's core of their life.
Finfisher's programs not only provide access to private Google Mail or Facebook accounts, Finfisher can listen in on Skype and even film.
This kind of software is not for freedom. This kind of software is helping the dictatorian in other countries to spy and to attack the activism and to attack their freedom.
The Egyptian woman became famous via her Facebook page and was even proposed as a potential candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now she knows she was under surveillance. In a file on her, she found emails and transcripts of conversations.
Even the tool will attack others' freedom, attack others' democracy in other countries. They don't mind about this. They only think about money.
According to the Ciber investigation, the German company Gamma also wanted to make money here, Turkmenistan, a country controlled by a dictator. Behind the opulent facade, there's merciless oppression. Turkmenistan is known for massive human rights violations, no free media, the opposition in exile, people disappearing without a trace. According to an offer that Ciber has access to, the goal was to install spyware, an export project to Turkmenistan on which the German company Gamma collaborated with the Swiss DreamLab AG. DreamLab alone anticipated an order valued around 900,000 Swiss francs in total. According to the documents, representatives from DreamLab and Gamma even traveled to Turkmenistan to carry out the technical preparations for the project. He has been covering this sector for years. For the journalist Erich Möchel, the companies carry part of the blame.
Because in acting in this way, repression and torture are encouraged. There's nothing else to be said. There aren't any laws there that force any kind of restraint on the state forces using such equipment. And it is used directly to get people out of their homes and take them away. That's it.
Wohnungen zu holen und abzuführen. Fertig, das ist alles.
According to TZAP investigations, similar spyware technology was supplied to Oman. That too was a project by the corporate duo Gamma and Dreamlab. The deal included the law enforcement authorities and their surveillance facilities to use and monitor these systems. Surveillance for authorities that put a bloody end to demonstrations in Oman as recently as February, when the subjects demanded political reforms. In response to TZAP's inquiry, Munich-based Gamma International denied having processed the export deals itself. Swiss company Dreamlab has yet to respond. Critical questions are evidently unwelcome in this industry. The ISS fair in Prague in June. Colleagues at the magazine Fakt filmed Undercover. Here, more German companies offer their surveillance products.
This is where the deals are signed. All clients are gathered here, which is far better and more convenient for these companies, as well as being concealed from the public eye.
And hidden away from the public eye, the industry is occasionally known to talk straight. In internal brochures, for instance. In its pamphlet, Munich-based company Ellermann openly advertises its surveillance technology, stating that it can be used to identify political opponents. German surveillance technology is global business. Utimaco from Aachen delivered its surveillance product to Syria. Utimato confirmed this to TZAP. Trovicor from Munich. It allegedly supplies Bahrain's surveillance technology. And Nokia Siemens networks faced criticism 2 years ago for deliveries to Iran. He wants the companies to take responsibilities at last. His father, Iranian journalist Issa Saharis, was arrested in 2010. His son claims with the help of German technology.
They came actually to our house when my sister was home. They tried to break in and come in and arrest him. He wasn't home at the time, so coming back home for him was not an option. So he fled to different cities to be able to still cover the election and what happened afterward. In doing so, he was tracked using his cell phone.
The son later discovered his father was severely beaten by 6 policemen at the time of his arrest. They broke his ribs and wrist. Then, weeks of solitary confinement in prison. Father and son now plan to take legal action against Siemens, Nokia, NSN.
Why would you sell such a technology to Iran? So I think we want to go after them to make them understand, and other companies like them, that a few more dollars of profit is not worth people's lives.
Whether their legal action will be accepted in the US is yet to be seen. Nevertheless, they intend to set a precedent for the father and all the other victims. NSN should have been aware of the possible consequences of supplying such countries.
Why was a deal signed nevertheless?
We acquired this division in 2007 and sold it in 2009. Naturally, business continued in the intervening years. We are not happy about the deliveries to Iran and have said so on a number of occasions in the past. We would have been happy if we had managed to sell the division earlier.
While they may have rid themselves of the division, business is still flourishing under a different company. As a policy paper shows, the German Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs, which is responsible for exports, considers surveillance IT a future market and one it would like to promote. Thus, in response to an inquiry by the German Green Party, the Federal Ministry had to admit some highly explosive facts. Exports of surveillance technology may be supported by export credit guarantees.
This means that the German government is directly or indirectly encouraging the export of surveillance technology abroad, and we suspect also to dictatorships and totalitarian regimes where it is used to oppress the population.
The ministry was not willing to provide any details of the exports in response to its sub-inquiry. So that's how the government supports freedom movements in totalitarian regimes.
Wir sind eins. ARD